This edition of Moments in Diversity is brought to you by Icon BC Business Association. Icon BC is connecting businesses throughout the Lower Mainland.
We are at a very popular restaurant here in Richmond. It's U Restaurant. They specialize in Hong Kong-style dim sum along with selected Cantonese dishes. Sounds delightful. Thanks to the folks from U Restaurant for welcoming myself and our guests here. As the introduction said, we're starting a new series of segments here in 2021 where we're going to explore and talk to people from different communities, cultures that make up this wonderful diversity that we have in the Lower Mainland and, of course, throughout Canada. My guest today, joined by a woman I've worked with many times, Queenie Chu is the CEO of Success, one of the largest nonprofit social service organizations in Canada. Also with me is a guy who's kind of doing double duty today. Alan Chen is my guest, but he's also going to be a consistent host throughout these series of segments. He is the vice chairman from Icon BC, a nonprofit business organization. Their goal is to assist members and connect them with professionals to learn from wisdom and experience. Thank you both for joining us here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome, and we're doing our best to social distance. So, of course, we had our masks on just before we went on camera. We're at a big table so we can keep the distance. Okay, lots to talk about in this very first segment of Moments in Diversity. Queenie, I will start with you. Give us a little background on yourself and this, as I mentioned, largest nonprofit social service organization in Canada.
So Success has been established since 1973. It's been almost 48 years of history of serving immigrants, newcomers, as well as local residents in British Columbia to get settled in their Canadian journey. As well as we provide services for seniors and affordable housing.
Alan, you guys do different things, but there's a common thread that does run through it. You, of course, do this with Icon BC, where you are also about bringing people together, but business people. Talk a bit about your company, Icon BC.
Icon BC is a nonprofit business association where we strive to bring business and people together. We saw there's a huge gap between people that are more experienced and people that are just starting out entrepreneurs that got the drive and really trying to make something of themselves. And that's where we come in. We are here to connect different people together where the knowledge, experience can be passed on from one generation to the next generation.
Of course, I don't think we'd find anybody denying that last year was an experience, frustrating, frightening, exasperating, scary. We are still not out of this. We have hope in 2021 as we move forward. Queenie, let's talk a bit about how difficult it was for your company, your organization, I should say, in the last year. We don't want to dwell on this. We're going to talk positive here, but how difficult is it when, say, anti-Asian hate crime was up 878%? But I've known you a while. You are a woman that does your best to stay positive and tackle problems. Talk a bit about the pandemic and how it affected you last year and your programs.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jim, for that question. It is amazing, how people actually get very resilient and really among the pandemic and the incredible impact to people's life, whether it's their own personal health, mental health, economically and socially. It impacted many, many people during this pandemic, and we're not over yet. And certainly, the resilience and the things that come out from the community really shines to support one another, to help the vulnerable. We have been as Success, pivoting our programs to ensure whether we can deliver it online or in person or by phone. Certainly we want every step of the way to support people in the community. And that's what our ultimate goal is to help people so that they can survive throughout this pandemic.
Boy, a word I heard, as did Lita last year on our show, and the word pivot when we talked to businesses. Alan, every time I've been to one of your Icon events, it's about bringing lots of business people together to talk, shake hands, trade business cards. How did 2020 affect you, and how did you guys as an organization pivot?
You're right, Jim. It's definitely very different. Before the pandemic, we used to have monthly events where we have more than 100 people on each event for business to connect, business people to get to know each other. But we can't do that anymore during pandemics. But we also recognize there's a need for people to connect even at these times because people are all separated. And we still have that urge to talk to other human beings, talk to other people. And that's where we come in. During the pandemic, we had multiple Zoom events with people in businesses where they can still come together, talk to each other, how they are fighting COVID with their businesses, what are some of the things that they're doing that maybe some other people can take from. So it's very different, but we're still pushing forward with our mandates to keep everybody connected.
We're doing a number of, as I said at the beginning of the segment, different communities, different cultures in this series of Moments in Diversity segments. I'm sitting with two Chinese Canadians. Alan, I'm going to stay with you just briefly. You are a second generation Chinese Canadian. Talk a bit about how you have come up and maybe the difference between you and your parents. You also have children, and they will adapt and be different, I'm sure. Talk a bit about your journey as a second generation Chinese Canadian.
I guess, especially in my experience, I'm very fortunate to have my parents building and those before them to build all the foundation for us so we can enjoy the life that we have in Canada right now. Me growing up, I didn't see myself too much as a Chinese Canadian or other ethnicity. I just saw myself as Canadian. I grew up as a Canadian. So, and there are different people from, let's say when I was growing up from my school that come from different backgrounds. The good thing about being Canadian is that we understand everyone's different. We understand everyone has their different backgrounds, and we also appreciate the differences. We also appreciate the differences that they have. A very good example is one of my favorite activity as a child is go to potlucks, where we have different people coming with different cuisines from different cultures. So I can have Indian food, I can have Korean food, I can have South African food. It's all it's a very nice banquet for us to have all those. And coming from a Chinese Canadian background, not only I have the Canadian values, we also preserve the Chinese culture within our family as well. And I think that's some of the beauty of being in Canada is that not only we are Canadian, we are also multicultural to be able to preserve our own culture. And to do that, we can also pass on to the next generation as well.
Okay, Queenie, that's kind of the bedrock of what you do at Success. Give us one story. Give us something that, as Alan said, that helps you. You're helping people come in here that want to become second and third generation. So what is one of the main things that you see when people are moving to this country?
Well, being an immigrant myself, and this is certainly my commitment and passion to help those people come after me. So I certainly, this is a wonderful opportunity at Success to offer the services to new Canadians along the Canadian journey, as well as local residents in BC. This is phenomenal opportunity to grow our economy, to attract talents from every walk of life, and be able to support our country.
Alan, I'll turn over to you now. Historically, there are many contributions, but there's one that you wanted to cite because I didn't know about this. It's also the subject of a great documentary on YouTube. Tell us about this World War II contribution.
Yeah, that's right. There's actually a lot of contribution the Chinese Canadian has made, but there's one that I want to focus on is the Force 136. It was the year 1941 during World War II. There was 150 Chinese Canadian volunteers to show their loyalties to Canada, and the Force 136 was trained and dropped behind enemy lines in Japan to destroy the enemy supply.
And also, as I mentioned, a great documentary. Look for that on YouTube. Okay, guys, we put out on social media not too long ago to our viewers some questions you might have of Chinese culture, which we're going to answer a few of right now. Queenie, I'll start with you. Someone wrote Chinese New Year, which is mid-February till end of February, 16 days. Why is Chinese New Year celebration? I'm okay with this, but why does it last so long?
Well, because it really marks the significance of the beginning of the Lunar Chinese New Year. And it's a great beginning. So it will take a longer time to celebrate the event. So each day has a bit of a significance of it.
Okay, and I will also ask you one more question, Queenie. What is the meaning behind giving out red packets?
Certainly, is a celebration. It's kind of a blessing to offer to children and to the people who are younger, in the younger generations. So certainly, the red package symbolize that good fortune, good blessing. And I know nowadays have money in it, so it's even better.
Alan, a couple for you. I know you're a big mooncakes fan. What is the significance of mooncakes in terms of a festival and that kind of thing?
I do like mooncakes. I think I had at least 5 or 6 boxes of mooncake last year. The mooncake comes when it's the Mid-Autumn Festival. It is the Chinese belief that is when the moon is the brightest and the fullest, and the mooncake is the representation of the moon. We share the mooncake with the friends and families and symbolize for prosperity and reunion of the whole family.
And we'll go out on this one, Alan. Line dancing, dragon dancing, the difference and the significance of those two.
Well, the lion dance, it is the mimic of a lion and usually has 2 performances per lion. The dragon dance, on the other hand, has a lot more people. It has 9 to 15 dancers in one dragon. The lion dance is to bring good fortune and good luck, and the dragon dance is to warn off evil spirits and to bring good luck.
Excellent. Well, this has been our first Moments in Diversity segment, focusing on the Chinese-Canadian community. We've had a great pleasure to have you, Queenie. It's good to see you again. Queenie Chu is the CEO of Success, one of the largest nonprofit social service organizations in Canada, helping new Canadians since 1973. And Alan Chan, the Vice Chairman of ICON BC, a nonprofit business organization bringing people together to help each other through business connections. And Alan, of course, you will be back in our next segment. You've been the guest co-host today, but you'll be back as a co-host in our next Moments in Diversity. We should thank You Chinese restaurant here in Richmond, not too far from Lansdowne, who specialize in Hong Kong-style dim sum, along with a great selection of Cantonese dishes, which I'm sure we're going to be enjoying as soon as the camera stops. Thanks for watching this edition of Moments in Diversity.
This edition of Moments in Diversity was brought to you by ICON BC Business Association. ICON BC is connecting businesses throughout the Lower Mainland.